Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today we will be discussing comprehensively the same-sex verdict given by the Supreme Court of India. What did the judgment say? What is the jurisprudence behind denying same-sex marriage? चलिए जानते हैं कि judges ने क्या कहा. लेकिन इसके पहले the exact IAS team has a sincere request. If you feel that these videos are informative and helpful for your UPSC and state PCS exams, do click on the like button, share these with your friends, and subscribe Exact IAS on YouTube and follow us on Instagram so that we are further motivated to bring you information-packed content. The recent Supreme Court verdict on same-sex marriage seems to be a paradox. While the five-judge bench have upheld that LGBTQIA plus community should not be discriminated against, the judges did not grant legal recognition to same-sex marriage. The 3:2 verdict had Justice Narasimha, Justice Bhatt and Justice Kohli on majority side, while Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice Kaul were on minority side. Supreme Court के आगे 4 important questions थे that they had to address. Question number 1. Whether right to marry is a fundamental right. On this, all the judges agreed that marriage is not an inherent right. Just because something is fundamentally important to an individual and enjoys popular support does not make it a fundamental right. However, right to form relationships were held to be a right under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Question number 2. Whether Special Marriage Act should be given a gender-neutral interpretation. Under Special Marriage Act, the petitioners wanted the word marriage between man and woman to be replaced by spouse. The court stated that expanding or interpreting the definition would be interfering in legislation making. It also said that the objective of Special Marriage Act was not to include same-sex couples, but rather it was to enable marriage between interfaith or intercaste heterosexual couples. The Special Marriage Act is a special law that facilitates marriage between people from different caste and different religion. However, according to Section 5 and Section 6 of the Act, the parties to a marriage under SMA are required to give a notice in writing to the marriage officer who would publish it in his office. 30 days time is given to entertain objections to the marriage if any. स्पेशल मैरिज एक्ट को बहुत ही डिस्क्रिमिनेटरी माना जाता है and it is said to violate a couple's right to privacy. Question number 3. Whether queer couples have the right to adopt children. The petitioners were against the Central Adoption Resource Authority guidelines, which did not allow unmarried couples to jointly adopt, thereby indirectly preventing homosexual couples who can't legally marry from adopting. It also requires the couple to be in at least 2 years of stable marital relationship before adoption. On this, both the majority and minority judgment agreed that law cannot discriminate against same-sex couples by excluding them from adopting. Law cannot decide who is a good or a bad parent based on the sexuality of individuals. Ultimately, it is the child's best interest that has to be given highest priority. The CJI stated that this kind of regulation was discriminatory and violative of Article 15 of the Constitution. The J.S. Verma committee, which was formed post-Nirbhaya case to review laws on sexual crimes, recommended that the word sex should be interpreted to include sexual identity and orientation. Therefore, Article 15 of the Constitution, which prohibits discrimination by state on the grounds of sex, would also include prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of sexual identity and sexual orientation. However, the majority view held that this kind of change cannot be achieved by the judicial pen, and ultimately it was the parliament who was to make a legislative choice of including queer parents in the adoption process. Question number 4. Whether civil unions for queer should be recognized or not. A civil union is a legal status that grants same-sex couples certain rights and responsibilities that are generally given to married couples. A civil union is similar to a normal marriage and allows employment, inheritance, property, and parental rights at par with marriage. The minor difference between civil unions and marriage is that marriage is majorly a socio-religious institution, while civil unions are legal sanctions and are mainly for same-sex couples. However, the petitioners had argued that civil unions were not an equal alternative to the legal and social institution of marriage, and by allowing only civil unions for homosexual relationships, it would send a message that their relationships were inferior to those of heterosexual ones. The Chief Justice of India did recognize certain entitlements that arose from right to form intimate associations, such as right to nominate their partner in bank forms, insurance forms, etc. These rights fall under the right to freedom of speech and expression under Article 19, Clause 1. He appreciated the Solicitor General's statement that a committee chaired by the Cabinet Secretary would look into the rights available to queer communities and couples in such civil union. In the majority view, Justice Bhatt did not agree with the fact that courts can prescribe certain entitlements to queer couples, as it is for the state to facilitate such rights and entitlements. To summarize, the Supreme Court has basically rejected the recognition of same-sex marriage and the interpretation of Special Marriage Act on the grounds that it required a deliberative and consultative exercise, which only legislature and executive are suited to do. So now the ball is in the state's court. Either the central government can legislate a national policy or individual states can choose to give such recognition, as marriage is under concurrent list. Only time will tell whether dignity will be accorded to the queer community or whether they will be denied this basic right that allows them to live with their partner without any fear. This brings us to the end of our video. Again, we request you to click on the like button, share these videos around, and subscribe Exact IAS on YouTube and follow us on Instagram so that we can continue to bring you information-packed content that will help you in your preparation for government exams. Thank you for watching this video. I will see you in our next.